Welcome to a brand new year and a brand new episode of the CRM show, our special New Year release where we explore how relationships, technology, and leadership will shape the year ahead. And today we are joined by a leader who truly embodies that spirit, Vijay Narsapur, an engineer turned entrepreneur and IIM Lucknow alumni. Vijay began his journey in consulting before co-founding a BPM company and later taking on global leadership at Infosys BPM. He leads over 11,000 professionals and partners with 100 plus global clients, driving transformation at the crossroads of people, process, and purpose. Vijay, thank you for joining me in this episode of the CRM show. This is our New Year special episode, so it's going to be released around the New Year's time. And I'm super excited to host an eminent leader like you for this episode. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for dressing in the traditional attire. It really goes well with our set design. You've come with proper Kolhapuri slippers and the white kurta and the jacket. I think truly Indian is what.
You have to thank my wife for the training.
Okay. Amazing to have you today. So I want to start off with something that I noticed throughout my conversation with you. So the number that we spoke to, not on WhatsApp, you're someone who text messages and you're someone who is always on your emails. Like I get prompt response from you the moment I send an email. Even if you're not able to pick up the call, I get a response from you that, hey, I'm held up here. I can call you this time, that time. So why you're a leader who has been taking care of customer experience, digital transformation, etc. And it was surprising for me to know that you're not on WhatsApp. At least the business number is not on WhatsApp, and your communication is mostly via email. Tell me what is behind that.
Basically, I've been trained well by my customers, is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And when you choose asynchronous communication, mechanisms where there's a little delay between you receiving the message and you actually responding back to somebody, you get a little time to think. So you can analyze the information, reflect on it, take it in, and give a sensible reply back to the person on the other side. And secondly, time is of great value to people. So when people write to you, to the extent possible, I have a hair trigger response. If not, I take my time to respond. Basically, that's it.
Okay. 16 years in Infosys and you're entering your 17th year now. You have spent almost majority of your career in Infosys from the starting early journey to currently handling P&L for CRM and also looking at it as the business standpoint. So tell me why 16, 17 years in Infosys? How has your journey been so far? Talk to me about that.
So if I go back a little, even before, Infosys, after my management, degree, I started with a Big Four consulting firm. I did that for a couple of years, and within 2 years, I became an entrepreneur, ran a company for about 4 years, had a reasonably successful exit, and then came back to India. And I worked in some respectable companies after coming back to India as well, and I quickly found out that India was a little different from a work standpoint, and I realized within 1 or 2 years of coming back that it was going to take some time to find a good match between what I wanted and the right company out there, and Infosys happened to be the company. And I interviewed with them, if I'm not wrong, for the first time in 2006. I think what they told me, to use my earlier boss's words verbatim, is they said that we think we found a man for the role, but now we have to find the role for the man. This was a gentleman called Mr. Swaminathan, who went on to become the CEO of the company in 2010, if I'm not wrong, and a good role came along in 2009, and I joined the company, and I immediately knew that I had made the correct decision. There was something different in the air and water of this company.
You have a major part of your career, you've been taking care of the customer experience integrated
Right.
unit. Now tell me, what does customer relationship management truly mean to you?
See, customer relationship management means several things. First and foremost, it means you have to understand your customer exactly and accurately. There's no room for miscommunication or any coloring or any layering in terms of what your customer wants or what she doesn't want. That is where it begins. The second thing is to have the ability to be able to listen to your customer. And what I mean by listening to your customer is truly giving them a deep listen, where you're not listening to them with the intent of either responding or worse still, kind of retorting, if you will. The third thing about customer relationship management is, if you focus on the word relationship, there is an element of time in relationship, and that comes from being able to provide continuous value to your customer, on an everyday, basis. And even that value has, two components, if I can say that. One is the articulated component, meaning the customer is already telling you what she wants and you fulfill that particular need. And the second is the anticipated component. The customer may not be able to articulate what she wants, or she may not even be aware of what she wants. But you put your thought into what the customer might want, and you create a solution for the customer. You serve that particular solution to her. That's what creates the relationship part of it. And then there's the management part of it. And what I mean by management part of it is being able to do it in a predictable way, in a high quality way, in a pleasant way, and in an economically efficient way. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing something that is very pleasant and very nice to consume, but if the customer is not willing to pay for it, and when I say pay for it, along with a profit on top of your cost of execution, then it's a hobby. It cannot be a business.
At Infosys, with Infosys being one of the largest customer experience operations company, you have handled 11,000 plus people and also 100 plus clients globally. So for handling something at that scale, you would definitely need a system in place which is able to centralize a lot of data and also provide that kind of a efficiency for the value that you're offering to your customers. That is one. Second is, how do you maintain that consistency, having spread across the globe? What's your mantra to making sure a customer experience is consistent no matter where they are from?
Right. So I feel like I'm lucky to be in a business that is actually simple. And what I mean by simple is, it's not easy, but it's simple. And simple over here means everything starts by listening to your customer. You understand what they want. You internalize what they are already clear about. You anticipate their needs in addition to what they have already articulated, but they may not have told you about those. And then you come to a concept of how that particular customer is to be served. So in the sense that, these are the do's and these are the don'ts in that particular customer, situation. The next thing you do is to build that particular consensus with the customer that, hey, this is how we are going to, kind of work with you. So the customer knows what she is going to, get, and she is aligned with the whole objective of that partnership. This is on the customer side. Now, internally, delivering good customer experience, as you termed it, is a matter of, again, keeping things simple and following a very strict regimen of discipline, right? And when it comes to keeping things simple, and ours is a business that is delivered through the cooperation of people, what you have to do is you have to make sure, first of all, that you hire the right people, and not just in terms of skill, but you've got to hire the people that want to do this particular job, even uh, if they have the skill but they don't have the motivation or the willingness, it's totally useless. Second, you've got to make sure that people are extremely well trained, and they know what they know and they know what they don't know very well. Both are important. Third, you need to have a disciplined system where people can perform, which is reasonably regimented so that the outcomes are predictable. But at the same time, there is enough room to play for people to be able to express their style in terms of how they are going to be able to interact with the customer, and all of that particular stuff. Fourth, you need to have a system of incentives and disincentives very clearly articulated. So what are the behaviors you're going to incentivize? What are the behaviors you're going to discourage? And ultimately, you have to create a system where the employees respond to that environment. Because if you're running a team of 11,000 people, you cannot be watching over everyone. Fifth, you've got to be extremely data oriented. So we are a business where if somebody gets out of their chair and walks to the cafeteria, we probably measure the number of steps that they have taken. And over a period of time, you have to understand the correlation between all those variables and values that support your business, and you have to reinforce them and discourage or weed out all of those things that do not support your business. And lastly, you need to have a very good eye on what your competitors are doing as well, so that you can keep your offerings, your products, your services, your communication, your behaviors, your operating environment, your financial delivery metrics, all of these things put together current, so that you continue to stay relevant in your markets. And the one thing that my team has done very well, I'm not going to say I have done that well, but my team has done very well, is that they have pushed for obsolescence of their own products from time to time. So the way we do customer service and customer experience management today is very different from how it was done 3 years ago in the same company. And I'm sure that the way it will be done 3 years from now is going to be very different from the way it is done kind of today. And in this entire environment, you have to make sure that there is the right leadership to drive things forward. I think that's kind of the mantra. Long answer, but that's what it is.
Right, okay. Customer first approach is something that every enterprise or every business always claims. It's there on every strategic deck that they have, brand assets, etc. But where they fail is executing it.
Right.
Based on your experience, tell me what are the blind spots that these businesses miss in terms of delivering a good customer experience?
So that's really easy. I think all companies get caught up in some favorite idea or some favorite fad of theirs, and over a period of time they start believing that this is what the customer wants, instead of asking the customer what is it that you want. And that's the articulated component, and in addition to the articulated component, you have an anticipated component that I spoke about. Many companies, even the highly successful ones, you will be surprised to know that they fail to ask this question to the customer. What do you want? What can I do for you? Right? And especially with the advent of AI and technology gaining a lot of ground, especially in the area of customer service and customer experience, the latest fad in the industry now is customer intent prediction. I'm going to try and predict why you want to talk to me, or why you've written an email to me, or why you've called me. First of all, it's expensive, and it's going to take a lot of resources for you to pour in to do a good job in that particular area. Instead of that, you can do the simple thing. Just ask your customer, what can I do for you? and she will tell you what she wants, and you can take it from there.
Okay.
So I think this is the fundamental problem in not just in the CRM and CX industries, but across the board.
Right.
And if people drop that veneer of we know everything, and they get into this particular mode of hey, let's have a conversation and we'll take it from there, your customers will be happy. And because your customers are happy, your employees will be happy because they'll be executing well. Because your employees are happy, your shareholders will be happy.
Right.
I think that's how it all works out.
Okay. Do you think outsourcing's traditional definition is not standing anymore? Because outsourcing before used to be just for cost efficiency and somehow getting the work done. But today, businesses are looking for a strategic partnership, innovation altogether when they're outsourcing service and support. So, what has the term become now, and how is it perceived in today's day and age?
See, outsourcing to my mind is an evergreen business.
Okay.
Again, I'm not a business academician or anything like that. I'm a student of business and I'm a practitioner of business, and I'm coming from what I see on a day-to-day basis. So over a period of time, if you look at what has happened in the outsourcing industry, the context has changed.
Okay.
So earlier on, outsourcing used to be about provision of components into a system. We know that. If you go back to the manufacturing industry, which in a certain sense is a progenitor of outsourcing.
Yeah.
I mean, when Henry Ford manufactured his car, he was practically making all the 200,000 components of the Model T Ford in 1915 all in his factory. But then slowly, people began to leave that particular company, and they formed a lot of, companies out there. That's a form of, manufacturing, if you will. So from component-based manufacturing, and that concept, applies to services as well, by the way. So from component-based manufacturing, we move to, systems or systems-based, manufacturing. For example, instead of just doing let us say general inquiry calls for a bank, why don't you also do underwriting, or why don't you also do collections? Now all of these things are actually systemic components which fit into the overall architecture of the business. And it used to be a very profitable venture for both the outsourcing companies as well as providers of outsourcing, because there was a general level of stability in business, in the business environment. So if you went back, let us say as far as World War II, it will not make sense going prior to that. The average lifespan of a business to reach maturity was about 15 to 20 years. They were all, products businesses. Then they would be stable for another 15 to 20 years. And then, whatever had to happen would, kind of happen. I'm at least talking about those companies whose histories are very, very well documented, if you will. Now, when you come to, let's say, the 1980s, which is when the computer revolution, kind of really took off, and home computers and PCs and all started becoming, accessible to, most people, what ended up happening is that particular process cycle, kind of shortened. And because of the shortening of that particular process cycle, people had to put out more work from the organization into outsourcing so that they could accelerate the return on investment cycle.
Okay.
Basically, that's how, kind of it worked. You put more cost out, you're able to get a greater saving, you plow that particular saving back into the market, you have newer products, you have newer services. And because there's so much, pressure of competition, you have to get to profit fast. You have to maintain a certain, kind of level. So outsourcing has played a key role in all of these things. The general level of prosperity that you see, the world around today would not have been possible without, outsourcing. Now, Where we are today is that the context of outsourcing has changed,
Okay.
right? Instead of just lowering of costs, what companies and customers are beginning to demand is you become a risk sharing partner in my business.
Right.
So the outsourcing model now is moving to a place where there is a lot more focus on what kind of additional revenue can you generate for me, what kind of innovation can you help me with in the in the market, and then in certain cases it will also reach that logical limit where a core company and their outsourcing partners will become shareholders, joint shareholders in some capacity in the market, right? And if you look at certain other industries where the levels of investments etc are very large, defense etc, it's already happening, right? So that is the ultimate trend.
Yeah.
So the way for outsourcing companies to stay relevant is by becoming domain experts in the areas where their customers operate.
Right.
That is point number one. Point number two is to understand the regulatory frameworks in which the customers operate.
Okay.
Third is to understand very accurately the incentives and disincentives that drive your customer's customer.
Okay.
Right? And right now there's a little gap in that particular area. But I feel that in a time frame of about 18 to 24 months, the industry will kind of catch up. I'm not speaking for Infosys out here. I'm speaking generally as the industry. The industry will catch up and kind of get there. And this outsourcing partnership will continue.
Okay. You had mentioned about how it's important to have the right training and right mentorship for all the employees out there in the company, right? Now, another question that comes to my mind, thinking about the point that you told, is today CRM systems are able to manage customer data. But at the end of the day, these customers are again managed by an employee who's working in a so-and-so company. How do you still ensure there is empathy and also accountability from every employee while they are servicing to a customer?
Right. So when I started my career, which was I was barely 26 and I was working for a big four company, like I told you. The dream at that particular point in time was to handle a customer. If you were handling a customer, you had arrived in life.
Okay.
And the average time frame that a top B school consultant would take to really start managing a customer was about 6 odd years, which is a very long kind of time frame.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if you fast forward 30 years and you look at today, in our outsourcing industry and in the CRM industry in general, what happens is that you're talking to your customer literally a year into your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the time you're into your job, yes, you have the training on process, you have a basic understanding of data, you have a basic understanding of systems and all of that. But the two areas where people sorely lack are in empathy and in customer context.
Okay.
Now, why? The reason behind this is that these are things that come with time. So I go back to a very famous saying that one of my bosses had told me earlier in my career: intelligence comes fast, wisdom comes slowly. And this is what it is, right? So in the age where intelligence is running far, far ahead of all our other capacities, it is important to develop empathy and wisdom alongside. So while you do all the data management and all of that particular stuff, and somebody is managing data on the back end, somebody is kind of front ending with the customer, the communication between these two parties has to be very, very clear, very, very strong, very, very often, and very transparent. And secondly, there needs to be a high quality dialogue between these two parties. What do I mean by a high quality dialogue? They both play the role of a customer and a supplier to each other at the same time, right? The data person generates the insights, but that will only that is only useful if the customer facing person can tell you
Yeah.
what insights are valuable and what aren't.
Yeah.
And the data person needs to be able to generate the correct insights, which the client facing person can then attest to and say that, hey, this is useful and this is not useful. So
Okay.
it has to be a partnership.
Okay. Okay. CRM systems have always been like last decade, if you take, they have been mostly for automation and scale.
Right.
And probably next decade, it could be for authenticity and also sustainability. But in your opinion, what is the future like and what are you really looking forward to in the customer experience domain in terms of the technological advancements?
Yeah. So see, the technological revolution in CRM especially, it goes back to about 1996 or something like that. There used to be a product called Clarify. I don't know how many people know about it. And then fast forward from that particular era, you went to the system called Remedy, which was a ticket management tool at best. That's my understanding. They may have a different view of it. And then the big splash was made by this company called Siebel. When Tom Siebel got
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of Oracle,
Yeah.
he founded Siebel, and Siebel kind of became the Wall Street darling and the Main Street darling as well.
Yeah.
And the reason that happened is because people were really struggling for a good system of record at that particular point in time.
Right.
And when the system of record, kind of came in, it transformed the whole business of customer relationship management. Call centers suddenly started to go to scale. CRM implementations, etc., became a big business. And then there was a parallel technology which was working on the access side of things, namely the internet.
Right.
And then things, kind of became, commonplace. So what we now have in place is a system of record. But where we were struggling, let's say till about 12 or 14 years ago, was a system of insights. Then analytics became a very big business, and I'm so glad to say that some of the founding people of that particular industry actually came from India, and who they who they are.
Yeah.
And then from a system of analytics, we moved to a system of understanding, which is making sense of the analytics. It were more or less the same people. And from a system of understanding, we went to a system of experience, because experience is something that has to be created.
Right.
Now, the next frontier in the CRM business is actually a system of partnership.
Okay.
Right? What partnership means is that the amount of value that you are able to create when whoever is a participant in this particular ecosystem, the sum is significantly, exponentially greater than what the parts kind of bring together,
Right.
if if you will.
Yeah.
And my favorite example of this is there used to be an ophthalmologist called Dr. Modi.
Okay.
And he has a world record in the number of cataract operations that he has done,
Okay.
which is over 1 million operations. And if you look at the number of operations that any other ophthalmologist performs, it's usually in the thousands, approaching maybe 10,000 over their career. This man reached 1 million, which is 100x. How did that happen? It is because he took his hospital to the masses.
Right.
And there are several books about it.
Right.
Now, that's a system of partnership, right?
Okay.
Which is, I have the service, you need the service, you're not able to come to me.
Right.
I will figure out a way of coming to you.
Okay.
And his work was made possible by several other participants. For example, a lot of people would pay for him to go live in rural Madhya Pradesh, rural Rajasthan. So the cost would be paid by somebody.
Yeah.
He was the worker. There was some other consumer. So it's a partnership. It's an ecosystem. I think that's the next kind of frontier. and we'll see what happens.
Okay, I'm heading to the last question for the main segment.
Sure.
You've been with Infosys for so long now. I'm sure you'd have had very interesting leadership interactions as well. Can you share a few? Have you ever had some interactive or thought-provoking interactions with, say, Mr. Swaminathan or Mr. Narayan Murthy? If you want to share that for our audience, that'll be wonderful.
So unfortunately, I've not had the privilege of being with Mr. Murthy in any meeting.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
But Mr. Swaminathan, who hired me into the company, I mean, he was an extremely energetic individual.
Right.
And even at the age of 60, literally days before his retirement, he could outwork anybody.
Okay.
And that was one very, very big quality that he had, and he continues to be energetic and entrepreneurial, even today. And the incident that comes to my mind from his tenure is that he had just been announced as the CEO on, when the earlier CEO, Mr. Amitabh Chaudhary, chose to go to a different company. Amitabh is now the CEO of Axis Bank. And Swami, as he was lovingly known, was just announced as the CEO on that particular day. And I remember being in a meeting with Swami where something had gone terribly wrong. And we remember, kind of discussing it. And the mistake was ultimately traced to one very, very junior level employee in the company. And there was an urgent need to kind of talk to that employee about that particular mistake. So here we were in that conference room. Swami was there, and somebody was sent to call this person. Incidentally, that other person's name was also Vijay. And I was waiting with a bated breath because I had been in the company only about 9 or 10 months at that particular point in time. As to what's going to happen now. And that's because these kind of moments reveal the culture of the company like no other. And this other gentleman walked into the room, and Swami asked him some questions, and we were all kind of waiting for Swami to explode. And nothing like that happened. And he very politely requested that gentleman that hey, will you please go and kind of fix this particular thing. I think that was a very, very important kind of leadership moment that I have seen in in my life. The second leadership moment that I want to talk about was during COVID. And during COVID, our current CEO, Mr. Ananta Radhakrishnan, he took complete charge of the situation, and we put humanity above profit in a way of speaking about it. And he just brought the entire company completely kind of together. So this was another, I'm going to call it a phase. And then there have been many others like this. So if I were to talk about Infosys as a company, we have a very impersonal kind of culture, a very proletariat type of culture. And unless you knew the title of a particular person, you will never be able to figure out where they fit in the hierarchy just by kind of looking at them. Secondly, we are a very low decibel kind of culture. Everybody has a voice. We are a very by the numbers kind of company. And generally the focus is on the long term. And many a times people have this question that if you always focus on the long term, kind of what happens to the short term. And the short answer to that is, if you take care of the long term, the short term gets taken care of too, right? So that's in short sort of the leadership imprint that this company has left on me.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the main segment. I am so glad that I got the opportunity to sit down with somebody like you with such vast experience. And I'm really sure that the things that we shared in this main segment is something that probably ChatGPTs or Googles of the world will not be able to provide. Comes from deep experience. Thank you so much. So next
My
I'm
pleasure.
moving to rapid fire. Okay.
Sure.
First question is one leadership lesson from your iSeva startup days you still use at Infosys.
It's integrity and transparency.
Okay.
So there were some incidents during my iSeva days. I don't want to, kind of get into it.
Okay.
But it was kind of a trial by fire. It was extremely, traumatic. And I'm very glad that I didn't fall prey to temptation at that particular point in time, and I did the right thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Next question is if you had to describe customer experience in one line, what would it be?
If your customer is winning and you are not losing, you are winning.
Okay. It's a quote worthy. I think probably we should take a note of this and maybe include it on the thumbnail or something.
I don't know.
Okay. So the next question is which region, APAC, LATAM, North America, or Europe surprises you the most in how they define great service?
I would say Europe.
Okay.
They're extremely exacting and to a point almost emotionless. And that's very important. So I think it kind of reaches the pinnacle of the lessening of the gap between promise and achievement or promise and delivery.
Right.
So Europe.
Okay.
And even within Europe, I'm going to say Germany.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Next question is the most overused buzzword in CX today.
Transformation.
Okay. Next is a book or podcast you recommend to anyone in customer service.
This is a hard one to answer actually. Okay. And you've made it easier by, giving me a context of customer service. So there is a book written by this gentleman called Mike Price,
Okay.
who used to be the VP of customer service at Amazon. And I think it's called The Best Service is No Service.
Okay.
I think that is something that I would highly recommend to everyone. And when it comes to solving problems in general, which is pertinent to customer service, of course,
Yeah.
I would highly recommend two books. One is a book called The Goal by Eliyahu Goldratt.
Okay.
And the second is a book called Out of the Crisis
Okay.
by W. Edward Deming,
Right.
who taught the principles of quality to the entire world.
Okay, wonderful. So that brings us to the end of the rapid fire. We had great, debut of yours in the rapid fire segment. I'm sure you would be more comfortable in a conference or a meeting setup, but this is all new. So I think there's first time for everything, and rapid fire also happened like that. Thank you. Next round is the Have You Ever segment, for which I have 3 placards for you.
Okay.
So in case if you have done it, you can show a yes. If no, then you can show a no. And if you'd rather not want to answer, you can show us the smiley. Okay?
Okay.
Here you go.
All right.
Have you ever said no to a project because it didn't align with your values? Yes. Okay.
So it's not necessarily a project, but again, a situation in iSeva
Okay.
that I referred to. It would have been very easy for me to align with that particular situation, and I would have been taken care of. But I said no.
Okay.
In my view, for all the right reasons,
Okay.
and it led to a lot of personal difficulties and those kind of things.
Right.
So that's
Yes. Okay. Next question. Have you ever been inspired by a frontline employee's story more than a strategy deck? Do you want to share a story with us?
every single day.
Okay.
Every single day. So I'm lucky to have a very blue blood, white shoe kind of an educational background, the 4 eyes as they call it. But ever since I joined the BPO industry, which was way back, I continue to be surprised by the dedication and the intelligence and the general understanding that frontline employees in this industry have.
Okay.
And the one big thing that it did for me is it helped me cross that particular barrier of relying on my intelligence in every situation. Because intelligence can be unreliable, but relationship and humility is very reliable in situations. So yes, I continue to be inspired. I've been inspired many times over, and I continue to be inspired by frontline employees.
Right. Okay. Have you ever had a customer insight that completely changed how a process was designed? Okay.
So this is an example from the credit card industry, and I used to work for a different company, not Infosys, in the 2008 timeframe when the financial crisis hit, and many of the customers, kind of went into distress. So I remember this grandmother calling from a place called Kennebunkport in Maine, which Maine is a state in the US.
Yeah.
And she had a credit card which had a limit of only about $100 or something like that. And I think she was a few days late in paying that particular money. And because of that, a late fee had been applied onto her outstanding, because of which she went over limit.
Okay.
Because of which she had to pay some more, money in terms of fines and all of that.
Okay.
And it became like a like an unaffordable amount to her, because I think her social security payment used to be something like $600 a month or whatever.
Okay.
And even that $50 or $60 overpayment was a huge burden on her.
Okay.
And that kind of made me empathize with her situation, and I recommended to the company that in these kind of circumstances, before they apply the late payment fee,
Right.
they should investigate the circumstances of the customer.
So with that, we come to the end of the episode, and thank you for being a part of the show. It's an honor for me to host you here and also share the stage with you. Since it's going to be a New Year's special episode, I am sure that there are so many great insights. Just if you keep aside technology part, yeah, that is always there. We've already spoken about it. But apart from that, you've shared values and also insights from your experience. I think that's going to be very enriching for our audience to start the new year with.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.